This is Donnie Tuttle, the Sell Anywhere trainer, coach, and practitioner. Welcome to the only podcast designed for the remote sales professional and the remote leader, helping you live with more joy, more freedom, and more productivity. We believe that your talent is not limited to your zip code and that you can build the life that you want while selling from anywhere. All right, Sell Anywhere listeners, you are going to thank me today because, listen, I am always giving. That's just what I do. You know it. And there is the place, right, of productivity and all of that. But man, it is so easy to get burnt out or really even to get flipped around in the pursuit of that. And I believe in productivity with purpose and not losing your purpose in the midst of that. And I just through a series of recent events have come across someone and just wanted to have someone on the show that could help us to bring balance to ourselves, to really make sure that we're working in a way that is not just productive in terms of producing cash or producing end results, but it's producing literally what we want, what we really, really, truly want. And so we have Brooke Greene, and she is a lot of things. She is a realtor. She's also a yoga instructor, and I'm going to be tapping into her mind here. And so if that's something you've never tried before, or you're not really sure what it is, listen, stay here with us. Stay here with us. This is going to be some good stuff. And even after we're done with a little bit of an interview, Brooke is going to take us on a guided meditation of sorts. So anyway, Brooke, welcome to the show, woman.
Hi, thank you, Donnie, so much. I am excited to be here with you today and all your listeners.
So this is the Sell Anywhere podcast. I need to know your current situation. Where are you at right now?
Currently in our home office at our retreat yoga studio. It's really great to just be here and, work, but also do the things that I love, being at home, practicing yoga, being with my kitty, and just being in a safe, sacred space all the time. It really feels right rather than going to an office, rushing to get there.
I love that. I love that. Even that, what you just now said, sacred space. I want to, we're going to dig into that because I really feel that there is a synergy, right, between the space that we're in and what we actually are creating, because it has everything to do, right, with mindset. But so I want to dig into that. But really, before we go anywhere, smells don't sell. I've got to know about this, Brooke. What is this? What was that?
Yes. Okay. So Smells Don't Sell was my first business. I started in college. I kind of grew up in real estate. My whole family, I was drugged to showings, and I'm like holding my nose, like, are you sure you want to buy this house? But on the other side as well, at listing appointments, people just go nose blind of their environment, of the homes they're in. And it's not anything bad. It's just, if you're trying to sell your house, if you have people coming in like we do all the time, Airbnb guests, yoga clients, we've got to make sure we have a really clean air, but also like really inviting essential oils going. I'm like looking around the office right now. I've got a diffuser in here going, of course, with like brain power and eucalyptus. So I just really think that using those plant medicines, using that sense to invite people into a home can really just make a world of a difference. It's the first thing you feel when you walk into a room. It's the energy, it's the vibration. And if we can make a little bit of a difference in that, it's so valuable.
Wow. Okay. So talk to me about that. So you've really hit on, Brooke, some areas where a lot of us don't focus on. If I were to be transparent, my workspace has oftentimes resembled a bird's nest. With just a
Yes.
collection of things everywhere. And I know obviously that, a clean environment does, the mind and body good. Like speak to that. Like, what does that do for someone who's like, yeah, you're talking to me about vibration and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Brooke, this does something practically too. What does this do for the brain and creativity? What happens?
Absolutely. So when you're centered and aligned with your purpose, passion, mission, you're ultimately putting out that same vibration. So manifesting things come naturally. It's not, you don't have this energy shield of, I'm too busy, I'm too worried, I'm not present in my purpose and my passion for what I'm doing. And ultimately that's going to attract the same thing. So you'll start to feel this systematic wave of, wow, everything is happening so great for me lately. I wonder why. Oh, well, maybe that's because I've been consistently practicing yoga or meditation, or even just 5 minutes of being still in the morning before you start reacting to other people's needs and desires. So I think that's so important. And then we live in a society today that it's all external. It's all external noise. You have to have this, you have to have that in order to be success. But sometimes, especially women, we get to that success ladder, we have everything, but we are just still not fulfilled. So I think it comes back to starting with what do I really want in life? What really means success, freedom, happiness to me, and sit with that presently. Ask yourself that question, maybe journal on it. That's going to bring so much enlightening to what you're really trying to do with the world, like what your soul's purpose is trying to do with the world.
So I love how you mentioned that moment in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Brooke, do you know what the most common practice in America is first thing in the morning?
I would assume it's rolling over and looking at their phone and
Got the
scrolling.
phone.
Yeah.
It's that, right? People grab their phone. And when you grab your phone, it is literally that first distraction. It's that first thing that you tell your brain where it's like, I'm not alive for me and for my purpose. It's whatever, if it's emails, right? It's whatever all these other people want. Or if it's the social media stuff, maybe it's living up to this image of other people. But it's like from the very get-go, we're telling ourselves something.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
so talk to me about that morning practice a little bit then. And I know you gave a little bit of a sample there, but so like how can I be more intentional by the first thing that happens in my morning?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So first thing in the morning, I think it's important. I personally wake up with the sun, or maybe a little bit earlier, but just whenever my body feels it's rested, it's time to get up. And I know that's not always possible for everybody. We might need alarms, and that's totally fine. But that's even more of an excuse to just go straight to the scrolling and straight to the, oh, well, I might as well check my emails here. And then you delay your actual practice. You're going to get so distracted. You're not going to get the most important task done. Cullen's all about your MITs. So he makes me write them down. And it's like, that's something I look at right after I journal, meditate, do yoga. And I think just being in that alignment with your purpose is so important. And it's so easy to get distracted with everything else.
One little thing I'm just going to share with some people. This is free of charge. Again, this is just because I love you. I think the biggest enemy, Brooke, of mankind and creativity and power and efficacy and freedom, I think it's the snooze button.
Yes.
Right? Because we're telling ourselves, I'm going to do something, and almost without fail, the very first thing that people are saying is, oh, not yet. Not yet. And like literally it's almost like saying that's the kind of life they have to live. And that's, going back to what you were saying about being in alignment with purpose. It almost feels like that's like polar opposite.
Yes. And if you're not if you're not like showing up for yourself, how are you going to show up in the rest of the world? You're not going to be at your highest potential. Nobody's going to be driven towards you or listen to you at all, because you've already let yourself down. If you said, oh, tomorrow I'm going to get up and go to the gym or do a little stretching, or quiet the mind before I start working, because it's easy. We're entrepreneurs. We have a ton of things to do throughout the day. It's an endless to-do list. We all know that. But does that really matter most? I think what matters most is your happiness. Why did you decide to go this route? So you could be free, so you could be happy, so you can make a difference in the world in some way or form.
Ooh, salespeople, listen here. Listen here, because really, Brooke, what you just now hammered in when you said promises broken, right? If in your mind you're breaking promises to yourself, you're literally going to be speaking to someone and selling whatever it is you're trying to sell them. And if you're breaking promises to yourself, do you think you're going to believe the promises you're making this other person? No, right? And do you think that might actually weaken your stance on what you're selling, what you're doing? What's that going to do to your belief? So that's super cool. Tell me this, Brooke. You work around other realtors. I don't know if you go into the office, but I'm sure you see them on a regular basis. And I know your fiance is he's Mr. Go Go Go, right? But, produce. When you look at that mentality and you see what people are doing, they're breaking themselves a lot of times. Where does yoga fit in? Like this is something you lead. You can see this as an answer. Like give me the answers. What's happening there?
Yes. So I wish I could say I'm really great at selling yoga and telling people they really need to slow down, but that's just not really our society. I think people have to hit rock bottom, like I did maybe, in a burnout, in a overproduction, where's belittling my value, just bending over backwards for my clients and trying to get a sale, just commission breath in real estate. So, but ultimately that's not going to get you anywhere. It's just going to exhaust you further. And that's not fulfilling. If you're showing up like that every day, you're not only doing a disjustice to yourself, but to everyone else. Nobody wants to be around you when you're not at your highest, greatest self. So I just think that's why yoga and meditation is so important, because at the end of your practice, the whole series, whatever it is, short series, a long series, but the sun salutations, the standing asanas, the sitting asanas, lying down, being still, meditating, breathing deeply. At the end of all that, you have stimulated the nervous system, and you have ultimately aligned with happiness, your happiness in the body, in the mind, completely. I've actually learned recently, it's the vagus nerve, which is like the 10th cranial nerve, that is really stimulated. And that's something you can't get with any other drug, any other practice, except through yoga and meditation. And so I've really found that is what makes me fill my own cup in the morning before I can go fill others.
Fill your own cup, right? What they always say, put your mask on before you help anyone else.
Yes.
A lot of us are running and going and starting from an empty cup. All right, just wanted to take a real quick break here, because I want you to go and hit the pause button and go over and connect with me on social media. Because if you're not there, first off, how can we even be called friends, right? I want you to find me on LinkedIn. I want you to find me on Instagram, and it's Donnie Tuttle, Donnie, Tuttle, Tuttle. And let's connect, because here's the deal. Any of those little thought nuggets, any of those, those things that are happening to me throughout my week, you are going to be able to connect with. And boy, I'd love to interact with you. So go ahead and do that. Let's keep the interaction going. Let's keep the party going. And now back to the show. the stress, what salespeople do and leaders and entrepreneurs are doing, it is stressful. It is demanding. And sometimes we get in the habit of being the hero or saying yes to too many things, or maybe we think we're the only ones that can do it, but we end up going and maybe burning out, or, like just push, swallowing another cup of coffee and demanding, these high stress things get done and not refueling. Like, I guess when you see that kind of person,
Mm-hmm.
like, I guess I'm wondering, like, how, like, and you're telling me yoga, Donnie, try yoga, try this. Like, what does it look like? Like, how often, when, in what should I expect? Like, what would the benefits be to me?
Right, right. That's a great question. So some of my students that have found yoga, they came to my class first time they've ever done yoga. They just always heard, okay, it's good for me, let me try it out. And they're coming one day a week. And after about 3 to 4 weeks, they're coming to me saying, this is the best investment in myself I could ever make. Like, they want to be there even more than one day a week. They wish it worked with their work schedule. So I just think it takes the motivation to get into it, but also it doesn't have to be so complex. You don't have to commit and make this a full-on 3-hour practice in the morning like I try to do most of the days. So it doesn't really have to be that discipline, because that's not yoga. Yoga is finding a meditation, finding the peace and the joy in the present moment. And that is enlightenment. Ultimately, you can be practicing yoga in a form, one of the 8 limbs of yoga, just by looking outside in the morning and noticing the sun as it comes over the tree line, and then the after the rain effects, the smell, just really being present and full and in touch with nature, but also noticing that everything you need is already within you. And when you go throughout your day with that confidence and abundance mindset, you're more likely to make more sales. I'm just going to say it. Like, sales are going to happen because you aren't so desperate.
Where have you heard stories, or maybe can you share your own, maybe like what was the before and what was the after in terms of this?
Absolutely. So before I went to Bali to get my 200-hour yoga certification in like a 30-day intensive, I was primarily doing real estate and focusing on production, just mainly taking on buyers because I was kind of newer to the team. But I was bending over backwards for my buyers, my clients, which, because I'm just a giver and I just want to help people. But because I was so desperately doing it, like, 6 a.m., midnight, responding, that kind of crossed the lines of a lot of my personal care time that I needed. So, and then when I went to Bali and it was only personal care and growth and self-love and being in nature, practicing, devoting to this practice and these ancient wisdom teachings, it really showed me a lot. And also just in the community, you see people just so happy, and to us, they have nothing, but they have everything. So it was that kind of awakening. And I always get reminded with little situations like that, just come back to the here and now.
Love it. Talk to me about this. This is something I've got to admit, Brooke. I mean, I'm a very open-minded person, and I've done yoga and things like that. But I can remember a time where maybe I was a little more staunch in some of my religious beliefs. Okay, a lot more, and it almost felt like an invasion of just religious, and we'll just say like a Christian type of mindset. Can that coexist? Does that coexist? I believe it does, but I just wanted to hear, I know you're in Knoxville, which is right in the heart of the Bible Belt, and I just wanted to hear your take on that.
Yes, Donnie. So this is a thing that a lot of people struggle with, but to me, I've studied Christian religion all my life. I went to a private Christian school growing up. It was a boarding school with about 30 people in my graduating class, and half of them were from Asia and Japan. And I learned a lot from them. Even though we were all studying the Bible together, their outlooks, their compassion, their just nurturing and understanding. And we as Christians, and I hate to say it because I mean I'm a Christian too, but it's definitely a judgmental, like it's this is right and this is wrong. But no other religion believes in that. Most of them are like, oh, there's a balance. There's a balance, there's an understanding. Just it's so important to find and appreciate every part of nature and every part of yourself and learn from it, like see that as a lesson. So when people come to me and they're asking about yoga, is it a religion? And no, yoga is a science, and yoga is already something that you can practice. You don't have to go deep into the philosophy of yoga and find where it was from, but it was actually something that women couldn't practice in the East. It was something that ultimately connected you more to God and gave you that bridge that they didn't let women practice it. But, you know, now we've kind of seen the Western world move a little bit further to that, where women are teaching, and that's even great. Like, I love that even more. And we even put a different spin on yoga, you know, different forms of modernizing yoga. So finding the right class that works for you, the right teacher that works for you is very important as well, because you want to relate to your teacher. My teacher of 6 years was actually the one who encouraged me to become a teacher and get my license and certifications. And I was like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. But it was ultimately Cullen and her that were pushing me, encouraging me to just be vulnerable, share my story, share how yoga has changed my life. And also it's going to help me grow further as well, because public speaking, everybody has a fear of public speaking, as you may know, yes. But doing the things that get us a little bit uncomfortable, that's where we're going to see growth. So
that was so good. And listen, I mean, you know, to me, this is all a part of creation, right? And it's interesting how oftentimes Western sometimes locks out Eastern, and it's absolutely beneficial. It's helpful, and even if you just take from it, like if you look at cornerstones of change in people's lives. They say that if you can start with the biggest domino, they said, is exercise. And if you're able to do this on a regular basis, it just puts you in much more control. It's one of those promises kept that helps you to continue that. I want to ask you in terms of like, I've got to admit, listen, in my lifestyle, Brooke, we're gearing up to leave here in a week. And it's not a major change in time zones, but it's a change in our environment. It's a change in, I've got to, find my new office space and all of these things. And if I were to be honest, which I always am, it takes about a full week to a week and a half to really truly adjust and reset. And I think a part of it, I think it might be, you might have some of the keys to that. So I'm wondering maybe if you could maybe give a little bit of guidance in terms of how all of that might work into a good routine and just re-establishing a base level, if you will.
Absolutely, yes. So as you may know, some of the physical disruptions in our circadian rhythms like sleep and jet lag are going to be one of the most damaging, I guess I could say, damaging to our bodies and our health and our physically groundedness, because you're not really grounded when you're traveling a lot, which I love to travel, but it takes a lot out of you. So I completely understand. I think sleep is definitely the most important in well-being. Right under that, meditation, grounding meditation in specific for traveling. So that would look like just sitting nice and tall, maybe on a cushion. In a hotel room, they give you 2 pillows, just throw one on the floor, maybe roll it up. And just sitting there in stillness, feeling that connection from the tailbone up, of like just reminding yourself, I'm here, I'm whole, I'm home in my body. Those little mantras are going to do wonders to making you feel complete and whole and back to the patterns. But the actual sleep cycles is going to be, I really suggest yoga nidra at night, or you can do it during the day as well. A full yoga nidra is about as equal as 4 hours of deep theta sleep.
Okay. Oh, wow. That is impressive. I'm gonna bring you into my world for a second, and then I'm gonna ask that. Can we do that little bit of a? I don't know what would be beneficial to these busy people who sometimes are struggling to have a life that works because their work is sitting in front of them all the time. But I'm going to give you an example. So just of a constant, and it's like it's one of those annoyances, and I'm going to ask you to lead us in. You can tell us what it is, and then just take us there if you would. But since we've been here in Mexico, I have an office in a space in the second floor of our house. And it sounds probably more luxurious than it is. It's pretty nice, but but as I look out, there are probably more dogs than humans in this city of San Miguel de Allende. And I'm looking up at where my arch nemesis is. And this dog literally barks about twice every second throughout the entire day. So 84,600 seconds a day, it's barking. And yesterday, so that was going on. And then there were some things. My office isn't necessarily, this one isn't insulated from the rest of the house as well as they normally are. And so I'm hearing some kid things going on, and, just the pressures and, getting everything ready for our next move. And so all of these things are there. And at the same time, right, it's just those normal things that are happening with the job and the, I wouldn't say pressure, but the pushing and the advancing and the doing things. And I'm doing videos, but I can't because a dog is, and you can't do videos when a dog is barking. And so, like, I just want you to picture like those, that this is what's there, but I know that there is a calm, and I'm going to ask you to bring me to the calm.
Yes. So external noise is difficult. We live in an external world, as we spoke about before. So we're too worried about what other people think. We're too worried about what's going on in the other room. And we really have this power within us to kind of quiet that external noise, to quiet the mind, our internal noise, the monkey mind. And it's something that takes practice for sure, but it will come. It will come. I promise. It's something that can be practiced, can be learned, can be changed. And I'm not saying I'm a master at quieting external noise yet, because I can totally relate. I've had that situation. But it's something that just challenges you to dig a little deeper. So you got to have a little bit more faith in yourself. But
so take us, like, whether it's me in that scenario, or whether it's someone else who has been looking at the laundry piled up, or someone else who is really trying to live up to certain expectations or a certain whatever, like, maybe bring us back to center a little bit. I'm actually going to pop my mic out here, and I'll stand or sit or whatever you want me to do. I'm just going to do what you tell me. I'm your robot.
Okay, so when we are just overwhelmed, there's so much to do. We're not in the right space. We're just living in the future, in the past, anxiety or depression, or we are just completely overwhelmed. There's a time we can acknowledge that and come to this tool of yoga nidra. And I don't know if you want me to do a yoga nidra or just a little meditation, something you could do quick and the daily. Yoga nidra is kind of a longer thing to put you to sleep, but I can let you know where there's some really great tools for free to get that as well.
Sure, we'll put that in the show links.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm already I'm wearing a leotard, and I'm kidding, I'm not, but
I
so,
love it. Yeah.
I don't have to be, right? I'm okay. Like,
No. You can
I
do
know.
this wherever you are. You could be on a plane and do this meditation.
All right.
All right. So coming to your seat and finding stillness, gently closing the eyes, and just noticing the breath where it lies. Maybe it's short and heavy in the chest. Just acknowledging that. And with awareness, you can deepen your inhales and send it to the belly and into the legs. Reaching the spine nice and long, the crown of the head reaches to the sky. Maybe the navel tucks in just a little so you have more space on every vertebrae. Relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the jaw, and the space between the eyebrows. As the mind starts to wander and come back to the to-do list, just simply come back to the breath. Notice the breath as it enters through the nostrils, fills the body, and notice the space right above the physical body, where touch happens, where you feel you're sitting on your chair or on the floor. Just grounding and connecting to that space and energy. And noticing the present moment. Your presence is your power. Your presence is your freedom. And your presence is your happiness. And just be fully present in your moment, in the moments to come. Finding the gratitude and the stillness. And then gently come back to the awareness of the physical body. Maybe wiggling the fingers and the toes. Gently opening the eyes, or you can take the hands out to heart space. to kind of close and honor this practice and this moment you took for yourself. It's a small win, but it's a great one. Namaste. Thank you.
Wow. Yeah, I feel like $1 million.
Yeah.
Your presence is your freedom. All right. So I do feel altered. How long was that?
So that was only about 7 minutes, I believe, maybe 5. I wasn't really counting, but it doesn't take a very long time to come into that stillness and awareness and gratitude.
So this is interesting, and this is just going along with I'm sitting down and relaxing, but to go with the science of productivity. They say that the most productive people are the ones who've learned how to take breaks, and it's a practice I started a while back myself, and I'm not always on it, but usually I am. And that for me means taking a break every hour to every 2 hours, depending on where my state of flow is, so to speak. But when you get to that little break, again, those are for you. Literally, we're talking about 10 minutes, 15 minutes per hour or per 2 hours of time. And what happens is because your brain is fresh and you're recentered back on just being yourself. You're way more creative. You're way more productive. You're just better. And you just gave us something that literally took 7 minutes. I don't know anyone in the whole world that couldn't take 7 minutes every hour or every other hour.
Yes, exactly. And that's honestly why I made it a little shorter, because it doesn't take that long. It's not like you're signing up for, oh, I got to take a whole, it's not like me signing up for a showing across town. It's going to take, a couple hours out of my day. It's going to take you stepping away from the to-do list, stepping away from the overwhelming or the work that's getting a little bit blurred, and just realigning with what are you here for? What are you doing? What is it that brings you joy and happiness and fulfillment? Because if we're doing that in our work, in our creative work, which is the gift we have as business owners and entrepreneurs, everybody's going to feel that and be drawn to that authenticity and be drawn to that vision and purpose. So that's so important to do as you're working, and you'll produce the best. So
I love it. This has been so helpful, Brooke. And just a quick note to those people out there, maybe who are not entrepreneurs, or they have a process or mechanism that they're following. Brooke, you keep bringing us back to the place of that being very aware of self. And some people could say, "Oh, that's selfish," and like this. That's not what we're talking about at all. But when you work with a company with a process, and processes are great, and companies are great, and mechanisms are great, but I kind of equate it to machinery. That it's great. It's great when it works, but if you're not careful, you're going to get caught up and mangled in it. And so this is just one of those practices that keeps you as the operator, and allows you to feel a sense of control and worth and value. Otherwise, again, it's you're waking up and jumping into the hamster wheel, or you're clocking in and jumping into the hamster wheel. And this is one of those things that, like, it just refocuses back to something I'm passionate about, which is purpose.
Yes. And I love that. I love your purpose of purpose on this podcast.
Yes. So, all right. I want to ask you one final question, and then we're going to get your information and find out how people can get in touch with you and all of that stuff. So how would
how would, like, you just, like, I was with you and you're with me, and that was really cool, even though we're thousands of miles away. But like, how would I do that on my own? Is that something like I hop in an airplane, or, you know, I have the dog moment, or whatever? How do I like do, like, what space would I and should I have an instructor? And in what space am I able to just kind of self-guide in some of those areas?
Yes, Donnie, I'm so happy that you asked that because I would love to share these great tools that I use every day. One is called Insight Timer. I believe it's free, and it's it has meditations, it has yoga nidra on there you could listen to. It has a timer where if you just want to lie in shavasana, which is corpse pose at the end of your practice, and you don't want to fall asleep, you can set a timer and it'll have a charming bell at the end. There's actually a couple different bells you can choose from. I was playing it. And so that's a really great tool that I recommend everybody use because it's free and available. Of course, if you want to go deeper and really find the blocks to why it's hard for you to meditate and sit still and do yoga and take that time, maybe you feel deep down guilty for practicing self-care, which I've heard a lot of people do. That's definitely in my clientele. That's definitely one of the biggest things. But it's so valuable because, again, you're not only doing yourself a disjustice, but everyone around you by not showing up fully present in your best state of mind every day. And that's what matters. So I think this is a simple practice you can practice at any time you feel a little flustered or just not in the right mindset. And of course, there are so many great yoga instructors out there and teachers, and I would be more than happy to answer anybody's questions. Or I also do Zoom calls with clients as well. So one-on-one yoga trainings are important to me, getting to know my clients and really helping them live out their fullest potential as well.
All right, Brooke, I've thoroughly enjoyed this, and I've honestly got to say I'm a different human than I was just 30 minutes ago. I'm going to go back and listen to this. I'm sure my my voice is so much more relaxed, and there's something definite to be said about choosing your state, or at least, you know, having the right state. And I'll never forget the moment where I decided that instead of being the sales warrior, this person who used grit and strength and all of those things to go out there and make things happen, instead I chose to be the joyful farmer. That that joy really was the biggest place of empowerment for me. Doing this practice here actually helped me to recenter right back onto the joyful farmer. And if I were to be honest, earlier in the day, I think I was probably more that task warrior, and I was a human doing and not a human being. And so wow, this has been really cool. I've never done this on any of my podcasts, but this has been revelatory, and I'm so thankful for it. And I'm sure the listeners are going to get a ton out of this as well. Brooke, how can we connect with you if let's just say someone's like, you know what, I like this chick's style, and I'd love to have a consultation, or I'd love to connect and find out resources, or you know, wow, it just feels like that we are, you know, that we think the same thoughts and believe the same things. I need to connect with this person. How can we get in touch with you, Brooke?
Absolutely. Thank you, Donnie. I would love to connect with everyone. My Instagram is Brooke with an E, the letters OG yoga. And then my email would be brookeogyoga@gmail.com. So Instagram or Facebook, they're the same, Brooke OG Yoga. And then also our home shala is realyogaestate.com. If you want to check us out there, see what we have going on. We've got an upcoming retreat a 3-day retreat just to realign and recharge, rejuvenate yourself. Spaces are pretty limited on that one. So I encourage you, if that sounds like something you're drawn to, check it out and see what we have to offer. It's going to be really great. We have accommodation spaces as well. And then I'm also planning a retreat back to Bali, actually, a divine intervention. Some girls of mine in the local area asked if I would help them organize their retreat to Bali, and it's actually in my intentions for the new year to do that. So we're going to make that happen in August, and I'm looking forward to that as well.
Love, love, love it.
Yes.
Brooke, thank you so much for being a part today, Brooke.
Thank you, Donnie. I'm so honored, and I hope you get to use this meditation app. And if you have any other questions, please let me know. I am always here for you. I love what you're doing.
Love it. Hey, guys, listen, just like your skills and your potential, yoga also is not limited to your zip code. So let's go out there and crush it, because if you can sell anywhere, you can sell everywhere.
Hey, thanks for joining us. And before you hit that next button on that phone, I want you to continue with me for just a little bit longer, because I've put something together especially for you. I want you to go over to donnietuttle.com, and you are going to find that I have put together a course on selling anywhere. I have literally taken all of the mistakes out of this thing that I've learned over the course of 2.5 years, and I provide a template of how you can go out there and sell anywhere. Everything from the traveling and the moving, to the setup, to the teardown, to the mindset, methods, and motivation, to different formats of being able to present to people in a way that is compelling. I have done that for you, and I'm asking you to go to donnietuttle.com and download the first class session for free. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next episode.